Hi, I am Dr. Jacob Larson, and this is Read, Write, and Cite, the channel where I teach you how to read, write, and cite for your college classes. One of the things I really enjoy about making videos to use both in person with my students, online with my students, and then just putting everything on YouTube is my ability to be able to answer questions that students have from not just the students who are signing up for my classes, but all over the world. Unfortunately, if you're not in one of my classes, I can't always, help you look over your papers or anything like that, but I can answer questions. So that's what I want to start doing in this series. I want to do a series of videos called Frequently Asked Questions, FAQ, for the things that get asked most often and hopefully in the shortest time possible without making a huge video, just to get to the point, okay? So in this first video, I want to talk about one of the things that I get asked all the time, which is some version of the question, how do I write a critical analysis? How do I write a paper, right? If you're asked to write any sort of paper where you have to analyze something, the steps and the skills are going to be almost always the same. What's going to be different is the content that you're analyzing. Now, the process that you use probably isn't going to change very much based on what you're analyzing. The process is going to be similar. The answers you come up with are going to be the difference. Okay, so here we go. If you're asked to do any sort of analysis to write a paper, whether you're reading a story, you're analyzing a song, it could be literature, it could be nonfiction, it could be a political speech, it could be whatever it is, right? If you're analyzing something, the first step you need to do is, one, you need to understand what you're being asked to do, right? You need to understand the instructions so that you can analyze it according to what they're asking for, okay? Now, one thing to keep in mind is many of these assignments that your teachers give you, there's not just one way to do them. So you have to pay really close attention to what your teacher is asking you to do. Me, if I'm not your teacher, I may come up with a different answer, but if you're looking at the instructions, that's your guide. Understand what they're asking you to do so that if you have any confusion, obviously you can ask your teacher, I would hope. But what it's going to come down to is you've read the instructions, you understand them, now you know what to do. Because that gives you your purpose, the thing specifically that you have to answer in the paper. Now, number two, what's analysis? Analysis is to break something down, to look at it very closely, to see what's working, what's not working, and then with that analysis to provide insight, right? This is the whole purpose of any sort of academic writing, is for you to add something from you to the world. Now, we're not necessarily talking about opinions, because opinions are just what you think, what you feel, what you believe. As important as that is, they really have almost no place in academic writing. But very similar to an opinion is going to be an analysis or a finding. It's going to look like an opinion, but the difference is you're going to justify it. You're going to explain it. You're going to back it up with evidence, with examples. That's the difference. If you're writing an analysis, whatever your decision is, whatever the point that you're trying to make, it's not an opinion per se, because you're going to explain it. You're going to justify it. You're going to back it up. That's what you're trying to accomplish with any sort of analysis, okay? So how do you get there? Well, one, you know what your purpose is because you read your instructions. The next thing you need to do is you need to actually analyze the thing you're being asked to analyze. Now, I would encourage you to take notes so that the things that occur to you as you are reading, as you are watching, as you're analyzing it, you don't forget them. Write them down immediately so that you don't lose any of that. And if you go back later and maybe you're someone who wants to reread it multiple times, that's fantastic. Do that. But don't this is what I would discourage you from doing. Don't read it, then start thinking, okay, how am I going to analyze that? Because you've lost all of your initial impressions, which could be very valuable in an analysis. So I would take notes. When you've done that, then you can start to figure out, okay, what do I think about this? What is my takeaway? What's my thesis? All right. So whatever sort of analysis you're writing, you're going to need to have some main point, some claim, a thesis that you're trying to make. So you got to figure that out. Before you start writing, that's the next step. Figure out what's the main point. So look at your purpose. What is the teacher asking me to do? What's the assignment asking me to do? I looked at what I was supposed to read. Now, what is that? What did I come up with? Then you figure out in the middle, okay, what is the thing I'm going to argue that I'm going to try and explain to my reader that will also satisfy the purpose of the assignment? Whatever that is, you figure out how to write that, preferably in a sentence, right? Call that your thesis. That is your promise to the reader for what you are going to try and prove, justify, explain throughout the course of your paper. Okay, once you've done that, you know what your purpose was. You've come up with a claim that's going to satisfy that purpose. The rest of the paper is explaining it. Now, maybe you come up with a couple different reasons. Reason number 1, reason number 2, reason number 3. And you've got some evidence, some background, some sources to go with each of those. That's what you do with the rest of your paper. You just explain the point that you made at the beginning. You make sure that it's clear, and then you're good. That's it. That's what analysis paper is trying to do. It really doesn't matter the specifics of what your teacher is asking you to do. If they throw some term on it, it's a literary analysis, it's a critical analysis, it's a rhetorical analysis. They're all analyses. They're just telling you what your purpose is, what specifically you're looking for. Critical analysis, you're going to be critical of whatever it is you're reading. Doesn't mean you can't agree with it, you're just being critical. A literary analysis, you're going to be analyzing literature. A rhetorical analysis, you're going to be analyzing the rhetoric and something that you're reading, or a topic or an issue. They all come down to understand your purpose, figure out what you want to say, break that down to a thesis statement, and then figure out how to explain that. Now, what I would discourage you from doing is using phrases like I think, I feel, I believe. They may all be true, but in academic writing, we don't refer to ourselves. We don't say I, so we don't say we don't say you. You're not writing like a persuasive paper. Persuasive writing and academic writing are very different things. They're just not the same. Academic writing, you present a point, and it's up to the reader to decide for themselves. You do research, you present it, it's up to them to choose. Persuasive writing, you're not leaving it up to them. You're choosing for them, and you're going to use whatever rhetorical skills you have hidden up your sleeve to try and be persuasive. Academic writing is trying to be unbiased, so we avoid that altogether, okay? And the majority of the writing you're going to be asked to do in your college classes is not going to be persuasive. It's going to be academic. The further you get in school, you really get away from persuasion, and it's all about presenting information accurately, doing good analysis, and, maybe explaining whatever that is. That's it. All right, so I probably went longer than I wanted to, but I basically explained the basis for college writing. That's what it all comes down to is you got to come up with an idea. You got to be able to explain it. That's analysis. All right, I hope that this was helpful. If there is something specific you'd like for me to answer that maybe I haven't already answered in this way in one of my videos, please let me know. I'd be glad to answer it because I'm here to help. So thank you again. I'm Dr. Jacob Larson. This has been Read, Write, and Cite. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.